Let's see, are there any training modalities that better fortify connective tissue against injury? Okay, so this is an interesting question, and the idea is that maybe there would be specific sort of training modalities that would further or uniquely reduce injury risk. And so far, that doesn't appear to be the case, as long as we're saying that all the training that we're considering here involves heavy, slow resistance training. So effectively, the rep ranges can be variable, but it has to be heavy enough for the velocity of the movement to slow down, and there needs to be a concentric and eccentric contraction. So barring that, there's really no uniquely specific or special program that further reduces injury risk. The main thing that's going to reduce injury risk is progressive loading over time and balancing fatigue, managing fatigue over time. There are a handful of exercises that appear to be worthwhile as far as including. Those would be like the Nordic hamstring curl, perhaps the Copenhagen adductor protocol, stuff like that. As far as if those are better than their barbell sort of analogs, so like the Romanian deadlift, for example, I actually don't know what you would do for Copenhagen with the barbell. But we could think of something. We're not sure. Those tests haven't been done. Those studies haven't been done. But effectively, heavy, slow resistance training forces the connective tissue and actually all the components of the musculoskeletal system to adapt to the stimulus placed upon it. The body is resilient and robust and adaptable that way. So the idea is that as long as the load is correct, which is not just the weight, it's all the factors of the external load. So weight, volume, rest periods, exercise selection, etc. As long as all of those are properly dosed and meted out over time, the body is highly likely to adapt to it, and therefore you're going to see connective tissue changes. So, for example, in Olympic weightlifting, you'll see a thickening of the cruciate ligaments in the knees. You'll also see changes in the vertebral discs. This occurs even in very young weightlifters. And so if you got an MRI, so this is like an advanced imaging technique to look at the joints, you would see these changes. And if you're not familiar with, what an athlete's spine looks like, or the vertebral discs, or the vertebral bodies, or knee, particularly weightlifters, you might say, "Oh, abnormalities," and ring a bell because you get a special prize if you're a radiologist and you notice something that's abnormal. Shout out to all my radiology friends out there. So you might say, "Oh, this is an abnormality," and then describe it. And then if you're a radiologist, you would say, "Please correlate clinically." Well, the clinical correlation here is those are adaptive changes induced by training. And so again, as long as we're talking about heavy, slow resistance training, there's really no specific protocol or specific program that uniquely sort of reduces injury risk. Special shout out to the Nordic hamstring curl and maybe the Copenhagen adductor exercise or adductor protocol. I just am not sure if those are uniquely beneficial or if that's just a way to get people engaged in heavy, slow resistance training. Hopefully that answered your question. All right.